We're here today, we're in Bruce Bauer's shop. He's in charge of St Clair Hound. He makes a great product. We're going to show you guys him tying a bucktail. He's went out of his way to give us this, so, you know, show him some love. Great product. I've been using them for the last 5 years. I've been running charges. We catch a lot of fish on them. You make a great product, Bruce.
Thank you. Appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, no problem.
You know, when you asked me about this, I had to think about it because, you know, people say to me, why would you want to give away one of your trade secrets, you know? But you know what? There's all kinds of videos out there.
That's right.
Fly tying,
everything.
Bucktail tying,
crankbaits,
from making crankbaits to whatever. And so I don't mind sharing with people.
No, we appreciate it.
And if they want to go to the trouble of tying their own, God bless them. God bless them.
That's right.
Because you know, it's a learning process.
Big time, as we see.
It took me a while
right.
to get it down the way I wanted it. When I first started with the hairtails, I had a guy that was tying for me in Upper New York State, and he retired.
Yeah.
And I only found that out when I went to place an order the following fall, and just told me that he decided he was going to retire and he wasn't doing it anymore. And I thought, wow, now I got a learning curve, and it had to be a quick learning curve, and it took me all winter really to figure it out and to get it right, you know, the way I wanted the product to go out.
And that's what we have now.
And that's what we have now. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys. Or enjoy the video. We're going to
enjoy the video.
We're going to post Bruce's information below. Make sure you check him out if you want to order some bucktails. He's the guy to go to.
So, Ian, when we start, I've had a lot of guys ask me how I get the flare in the end of my tails.
Yeah, you got some good flare on those pikers for sure.
You know, we're going to build a piker. You know, the length of time it takes me to tie, it varies on the number of colors that I'm putting in the tie. And we're just going to do a standard 4-tie, what I refer to as this color pattern is called the Orange Crush. And what I do to get the flare is I do a thread wrap on the end, and I do a little knob on the end of it. And you'll see why as the video goes on. Trim off the excess thread. I pull it out of the vise, and then I wrap across it. That way it doesn't unravel. Even with the glue on it, I'm going to glue this in a minute, but even with the glue on it, now it won't unravel. So you just do a cross wrap on it like that, and it makes a nice little knob on the end of the coil.
Yeah, I can see that knob.
And then we put a nice coating of glue on it, and the glue I use, it's a fly tying glue, and I cut it a little bit, the glue, with automotive thinners, and that's to give good penetration into the thread. That's the key.
It holds it really tight.
Well, it adheres to the thread, and it allows it, and that way the thread will not come undone. It will not unravel. And it puts a good protective waterproof coating on it for when it's going through the water. You see a lot of these, what I refer to as cheap tails. They're wrapped by machine. They're done by machine. And the thread isn't finished on them.
Yeah.
There's no protective coating on them, and after a year or so of use, you then, you know, your thread starts to break down, and the bucktail starts to come apart. I like to make a quality product.
Yeah.
This is a hobby for me. I am a registered, company, but it's more of a hobby than anything else.
And how long you been making bucktails, Bruce?
About 15 years.
Long time.
So, I actually started for my own, and it's the usual story. Now, how'd you get involved in this? Well, it was for my own. It was all for my own personal use, and I started making a few and using them, and we were successful with them. And then I had guys asking to buy them from me, and then and that's how it evolved, really. I started with hair, moved into the Flashabou because I had requests for that, for the Flashabou tails, and so it just kind of steamrolled from there. So I'm going to be retiring this year from June from my real job, and so I hope to expand it a little bit further. We'll see. I'm in no rush to take on a second job after I retire, but because I do like to fish too. So, but this is how we do it. This is how we wrap it.
You make
we like to. I do it when I'm doing my wraps. I do them in 3 sections, and I try to. You try to when you pinch it off the tail, you try to get the same amount. You like to make it as consistent as possible.
I see that. And this is the 3rd section on that one.
This is the 3rd section on this one. All right, so now that is wrapped, and what's nice is, while it's not glued or anything, you can move the hair around, so it's uniform. And I'm going to turn out of the camera view here now, because I'm going to cut off this extra hair, and I just don't want it to fall on the bench or on the floor. So I'll trim off the extra hair. And go from there.
So that's why there's so much hair on the bottom of the floor.
That's why there's lots of hair on the floor. Sometimes I miss the pail. And I like to trim the hair so that it's trimmed at an angle. So when I go to finish the wrap on this, it goes on nice and smooth. Sometimes I screw it up, but hey, nobody's perfect. You know what happened to the last guy that was perfect? We just celebrated that a couple of weeks ago. But so then after I do that, then I do the finish wrap on this color. And these are all done by hand.
I mean, you really can't beat them. And I was not a bucktail guy.
And it's funny. My dad was a millwright at Ford Motor Company, and back in the day, there wasn't a lot of these around. And my dad, with a co-worker at work, they made a die to make his own blades, and used to get them stamped. He used to stamp them out of brass, and this is before your time, Ian, but years ago, near Lausanne in Tecumseh, right on the shore there of Little River, there was a place called Windsor Bumper, and my dad had a buddy that worked there, and he would take them in and nickel plate them for him.
No kidding.
So my dad, when he made his tails, he didn't have access to the colored bucktail hair, and he used to use feathers, whatever he could get.
That's a classic way of doing it.
Yeah, and his tails were all made out of feathers. Marabou, like we call that today. And his shafts for his tails were brass rod. So I kind of, you know, I was real young when my dad did that, so I really have no memory of him. I used to have a couple of his tails left that he tied.
No kidding.
But they have since disintegrated and fallen apart, and I don't have them anymore, unfortunately. I mean, you want to talk about primitive, but
yeah.
He's the guy that got me into muskie fishing back in 1959.
You've been at it a long time.
So, caught a lot of fish out there, had a lot of fun.
So Bruce, what would you consider your favorite pattern bucktail?
In hair?
In hair, in the Piker series hair.
Wow, that's a good question. Every pattern I tie has been tested.
Mm-hmm.
They catch fish on different days. Yes. Different conditions.
That's right.
Different lighting conditions. Different water conditions. You did a video the other day on YouTube.
Clarity, yeah.
On water clarity. I have one pattern that I built specifically for green water.
Yeah.
And that's the candy corn pattern in Piker.
Very good pattern.
And we run that with a copper blade in green water, and it produces. Does it produce every day? No. No bait is going to produce for you every day.
No.
If everybody thinks that they're buying a bait to solve their problem and on catching fish, they got another thing coming. They're going to be truly disappointed, because different color patterns work on different days, different, different patterns, different days, different light conditions.
Right.
Overcast, cloud. Is it overcast, cloudy? Is it a rainy day?
It's the same as crankbaits.
Exactly.
Bucktails are the same as crankbaits.
No real difference. No real difference. So what I do is, that's the second layer that's on there. Now, I run a continuous thread on these. I don't break it down. Some guys, when they tie one, cut the thread off and start a new one. I run a continuous thread. And I put an initial coating on it. I coat the hair. And that's so it doesn't pull out. You see a lot of tails out there. Again, what I refer to as the cheap tails, usually made overseas. They're not wrapped properly. They're not glued properly. And after a few fish, the hair starts to pull out.
That's right. Like we were talking earlier, I have some of your pikers, and they have the hair hasn't pulled out. The fish have bitten the hair off.
They'll literally chew the hair off them. I have another guy that runs my piker, and he's got a blue perch piker. That, literally, you can see the 4 layers of hair color.
Yeah.
But it's down to a nub. It's no bigger than the red end on this thing sticking out the end. And I said to him, "You want me to retie that thing for you?" He says, "Hell no, leave it alone." He says, "Because I'm still catching fish on it."
That's right.
And
you don't mess with what works.
You don't mess with what works. So why it's still catching fish, I have no idea. The only thing I can figure is the vibration in the blade.
Exactly.
But you do want. I tie 2 tie colors, 3 tie colors, 4 tie colors, and each one takes a little bit more time than the other. When I get to the second last layer that I'm tying, that's when I like to add the accent. Now, some guys like the accent long, some guys like it short, down to the base of the hair. I leave it, when I tie it and it goes out, I leave it long, and if the guys want to trim it, they can trim it. What I have found, if you leave it too long, is it will get wrapped in the treble. Not that that's a problem, but you don't get the movement out of it either.
Yeah, I've seen that where you sometimes have to pull it out.
Yeah.
Not a big deal, but...
It's not a big deal, but you end up stretching it. And when you stretch it, you weaken it. So myself personally, I like to cut it off just below the hair.
Yep.
So you still get that
nice twinkle in the water.
That nice twinkle in the water, exactly. So, but it's up to the individual, you know. I mean, it is what it is. So
you can see on the baits he has hanging here, you can see the accent that he puts on. Gives a little extra flair.
Just a little extra sparkle in the water. Some guys like it without. Some guys will order them without the accent in them. It's their, you know, to everybody's own. I do custom colors. Somebody's got a custom color, I will tie custom colors for them, providing that the colors are available, and I have them.
Which you have basically every color you could ever want.
Well,
and there's always that one guy.
Well, you know, I try to get a little bit of everything that's out there. So, but if you want a custom color, you're not gonna tell me on the phone that I want a little bit of this and a little bit of that in it. You're gonna come and you're gonna sit at the bench with me, and we're gonna tie it together so that when you walk out, you've got exactly what you want.
That's right. Yeah, you've done that for me a few times.
And
it works good.
So I'm not going to do a custom color over the phone or from a picture. Pictures can be very deceiving on colors, especially with Flashabou. It changes it for some reason. It changes it a bit. The colors are not true colors that you're seeing in the photographs. And the colors will change as well when you take them out from the shop. You might have a color pattern that you love in the shop, it looks real good, and then you take it out in the sunlight and you say, my God. You know?
100%.
So, I mean, it's always good to be able to take it outside and have a look at it before you...
That's right.
You know, before you finish it up.
So another thing, Bruce, you've caught some big fish on these.
Oh yeah.
On your double tens and your pikers, which you're making now.
Yes.
Want to tell us about a couple of those big fish?
Well, my biggest is a 54 and a half.
Which is a massive fish.
Yeah, it looked like a snake. I caught it in July.
A skinny fish.
A skinny fish.
You can't feed into what everyone thinks Lake St Clair skinny fish.
It was a skinny fish. The head on it was massive, and she was old. And I actually think that she was probably in her, reaching the end of her lifespan.
Yeah.
Big female and long and snaky. She didn't have a tooth left in her mouth, and so I had to be very quick and gentle with her and get her back in the water quickly, and she did go back. There was no problem that way.
We have to have respect for those fish.
Oh yeah. I mean, she's lived a good life, but you know what? Photos better than a trophy.
That's right.
So anyway, so yeah, like I say, we've been doing these now for about 15 years, and it's gives me something to do in the evening in the winter months.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I enjoy it. It's fun. And it's fun. It's fun catching fish. Now, we were talking about big fish a while ago. It's funny. Last year, my wife gets really upset with me because I'll wake up in the middle of the night, and I'll have this color pattern in my head. I don't know whether it came to me in a dream or how it came to me, and I'll go downstairs and write it down. I've even, at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning, come out to the shop and tied one up just to look at it, because I know I'm not going to be able to go back to sleep until I see it. Sometimes I get real excited about it, but last year I took this couple out from Ohio, just friends that I got to know from fishing, and before they showed up that morning to go, I had an idea for a color pattern. So I come out and put it together. It was just a derivative from another pattern that I already make, and with just an added color to it. And I put that together, and we went out that morning. It was a beautiful morning, and I threw that first thing in the morning on a down rod, and if not 10 minutes later, we popped her first muskie.
First one.
Her first ever muskie. And it was a 50-inch fish. It was a beautiful fish.
Wow.
So, you know, it kind of gives you a good feeling inside.
That's right.
When you build something and you're successful with it.
Especially in that case.
And I understand why a lot of these guys, you see a lot of these guys on Facebook, you're seeing a lot of people now building their own baits. If they think they're going to get rich from it, they got another thing coming. Unless you go full bore and, you know, really go into massive production.
That's
and
right.
Really advertise and everything, you're not going to get rich from it. But if you're in it for the satisfaction, there's nothing better.
No, nothing better.
So what I've done with this tail, and as you've seen, each section is individually glued, individually wrapped.
That's the third section that you've
This is the fourth.
glued.
This is the fourth section.
Including the accent.
Yep. This is the fourth section.
Like you
of
said,
color.
it's pretty impressive seeing them individually glued, individually wrapped.
Well,
I mean, that's a good process.
And this, you know, this is what you don't see in a lot of tails.
No.
I'm not saying everybody's like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've just taken the attitude that if I'm going to build a product and sell it,
Yeah.
I don't want people complaining.
Exactly.
I stand behind my products. There's a lot of guys, you know, with the wire, what happens is after a few fish and twisting and excuse me, everything in the net, the wires get bent on.
That's right.
A lot of guys just throw them on the bench at home or into their box because they won't run straight. They won't run right. And if you bring them back to me, it's 5 minutes to put a new wire in them.
You've always been good with that.
You know, don't throw the bait away. Don't go out and spend another $20, $25, $30 on another tail. Bring it to me.
That's right.
I have a lot of the charter guys that bring their baits back to me in the fall, or, you know, last minute in the spring just before opening. Can you put new wires in these? Yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
It's not a big deal.
That's right.
You know?
All right, I'm going to...
So what I do next...
Give me a second, Bruce.
Yep.
Count me.
All right, so now that we've got the first coating of glue on it, I just kind of blow on it to set it up, because it will set, and then I put the finish coat on it for the front of it to give it a nice bright red color, and I just use a bottle with an applicator.
That's some good quality epoxy, though. Good quality glue.
It's a glue.
Good quality glue.
It's a good quality glue. You can get it in different colors.
You'd think the muskie would tear the crap out of it, but they don't.
No, like I say, I cut it with with an automotive clear, and it allows it to soak into the thread, and that's why I'm generous with it.
Yeah.
It allows it to soak into the thread, and it gives it a great protective coating. I'm not saying it doesn't get chewed. I mean, it can.
It doesn't
No
fall
question,
apart though.
but it doesn't fall apart, and it doesn't. You know, it takes. You know, they last a long time. Maybe I'm shooting myself in the foot, but
No, they do.
and then once I have the finish coat on this, I just blow on it to set it so it doesn't run. Hang it up, and here's the finished one.
Which is all dry.
Which is all dry, and it's got a nice protective coating on it, and the ones down inside have a nice protective coating on them.
Here, show me this camera, Bruce, right here. It's just
the
yeah, you can see the coating on the thread too. Nice thick coat.
nice thick coating. It protects it, and then we just do a wrap with them. That's all. I end up cutting the nub off if there's some left, depending on the number of colors you put on this. That's 2-inch coil that I start with, and I can wrap up to 6 different colors on one coil.
In one tie.
In one tie. And then I just take a wire, make sure that it's straight. We use 062 stainless wire, and we use 5/0 4X mustads. I really like the mustads. They come nice and sharp, but it doesn't take or hurt to, when you get them out of the package, to take a file to them and put a nice razor point on them. So put that on, and then sorry about that, I kind of got kind of close to the camera.
Nope, you're good right there.
A 3/8 ounce weight. That feeds on there like that. And then we use these nickel-plated hollow brass beads. We put 7 of these on.
Which adds some weight and some vibration.
Well, you get a little bit of clicking and noise from them, and then we use a nylon washer and a number 4 clevis, stirrup clevis. Our blades are a 40 thou. These are gold plated. These are not polished brass. These are gold plated blades. They give a lot better flash in the water. We use both a fluted mag willow, it's a number 7, and we use a plain sometimes, depending on what somebody wants. We then measure off what we need. And then do the wrap. And that finish it. There's your piker.
All right, Bruce, we're gonna get that in focus. Give me 1 second. There, we can see you and you're in focus. Yeah, hold it up to the camera.
And there you are. There's your finished piker.
I'm gonna zoom in on it, get a good look at it. That's from start to finish.
That's from start to finish, yeah.
And there we go. Beautiful. And that's a 3 tie. Technically 4 with the accent.
No, that's a 4 tie. It's a four different colors. There's 3 oranges and a fluorescent yellow in the tail, and then your accent is on top.
Beautiful, beautiful, Bruce. All right, we're gonna leave Bruce's information below, and I'm telling you, he makes some great products. Check him out.
This is one of the new patterns we're working on this year. It's one that I'm not sure that I'm going to go into the production with. It's a 6 color pattern, and it takes a while to make. So these will go out for some testing this year, and we'll go from there.
Looks good, Bruce.
All right.